Oh, what is up? Welcome to Bringing the Backups. I'm your host, Erick Hellwig. On the show today, we're talking backup quarterback Kent Graham of Giants, Cardinals, Redskins, Jaguars, Texans, Lions fame. And we're also chatting with comedian Anthony Devito. You can follow him on Instagram at comedian Anthony Devito. You might know him from The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, as a writer from The Break with Michelle Wolf on Netflix, and many other really cool things that he has done. He has a one-man show coming up on August 14th called My Dad Isn't Danny DeVito, or Danny DeVito Isn't My Dad. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. It's a great show. It's going to be great. We talked about it in the interview. You can get the Eventbrite link and purchase tickets right now if you're in the New York area on his Instagram page. Again, that's at comedian Anthony Devito. A hilarious, funny dude you're going to see for yourself as you listen. But get to that show on August 14th. Also, my wife, Liz Galalis, drops in at Liz Galalis on Instagram and Twitter. Give her a follow. And my friends Maddie and Smitty from the Sports and Shit Pod, you can follow them on Twitter at Sports, the letter N, Shit Pod. Very quickly, before we get into it, I've got a couple dates at the Back Alley Bar. That's on Tuesday, June 22nd in Fullerton, California. I'm getting up for a set there. It's a free show. And then on Saturday, June 26th, I'm at the Comedy Chateau for the Val Show, where I am headlining. That's a 7 p.m. show. It's a great lineup. Although the fact that I'm headlining, maybe it's not a great lineup. I don't know. Don't make me say it. I'm headlining. Just come out to see that. Holy shit, you're going to make it about me. I'm headlining a show at a comedy club. Get your ass out there on Saturday night. We're going to have a great time. Thank you guys so much for being a part of the show up to this point. We're 21 episodes in. I'm super excited. There's actually a huge announcement on the podcast today, so you're going to hear it in about 20 minutes. Stay tuned for it. Thank you for everything. Wherever you're listening, Apple, Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, Jizz Bucket. Is that one? I don't know. It could be. Probably not. Subscribe, all right? We got big shows coming up. Like I said, big announcement here. So thank you. Enjoy the show. Let's do it. This is Bringing the Backups with Erick Hellwig. Oh, welcome in. Welcome to the show. What a show it is. How echoey is my voice in my new office? You like it? Hello. Little echoey in the new office. There's zero furniture in here. All right, I've got like my desk. I bought a big ass desk to have an office, and so I'm like Scarface, but then there's no other furniture in the entire room. And what's weird is it's the master bedroom of this condo that I bought and now live in North Hollywood. So it's supposed to be the master bedroom. So it's a pretty big bedroom. But we're using the smaller bedroom for our bedroom, and then this room is going to be like my office/guest room. I'm not going to get into the logic of why we're using the master bedroom as an office, but there's logic there, I swear. Okay, it's just not podcast-worthy talk. But the point is, I'm in a big-ass room with no furniture to absorb sound, so I'm super I'm very self-conscious that the echo is going to make this podcast unlistenable, all right? So hopefully it's not that bad. A little bit later, I'm going to be chatting with comedian Anthony Devito, a hilarious comic. We'll be chatting with him. Also, a little bit later, Kent Graham. We're talking Kent Graham on the podcast. We'll have some friends come into the show. You guys know Maddie and Smitty. Maybe you don't. I don't know. Have they been on the show? Oh, no. Well, I mean, they will be on the show. In my mind, they've already been on the show because they sent me a thing to put on the show months ago. But for you guys, you're like, who the fuck are Maddie and Smitty? Well, they're friends of mine that are on the show today. Also, my wife, Liz. You guys know her. My wife, later on the show, is going to do a little promo for a show she's on that doesn't sound like a real show, but it is. So, yeah, anyway, we got some fun stuff coming up. I had a nice couple weeks since I've talked to you last time. In my mind, I always feel like it's been a week since the podcast dropped, but it's been 2 weeks. I have to always go back in my calendar to remind myself what happened 2 weeks ago. And that's also a lie. I have to go back in my calendar to remind myself what I did this morning. I have the worst fucking memory of anybody I know. But I did have a good week. I did 2 more virtual shows. Why do I keep saying yes to virtual shows? One of my buddies hosted a show on Clubhouse. So I went on Clubhouse and bombed on Clubhouse. I can't tell when you're bombing virtually. It's a specific type of sadness that hits you. Because it's like usually like when you're done with the show and if you've bombed in front of people, you go backstage. There's like other comics. You go get a drink. You have a little drive home to decompress. And by the time you arrive back home, you've already washed the stench of failure off you. And to be honest, the longer you do comedy, the less that time takes. It used to be you'd carry a bad show with you for like a week when you were just starting out. But, you get to be a little more professional where I'm at now. 15 minutes and you're over it, You've got other things to think about. But when you bomb a virtual show, you just sign off on the show, and then you're in your dark bedroom, and you're like, oh, I'm sad. Like, there's no buffer back to your real life. You're just immediately back into it, and you're like, why the fuck did I say yes to that? So, yeah, I bombed a virtual show, and then I had a second virtual show. And I crushed. Had somebody message me after the show, sent them my podcast. They listened to a couple episodes, told me they liked it. And I was like, holy shit, virtual shows are great. I met a man. I met a British man that lives on the East Coast that now likes my show. So you know what? Fuck what I've been saying about Zoom comedy. It's the greatest thing. There's like lies we tell ourselves about inventions. Like we say like, oh, the internet's great because you can connect with so many people. But, now we see it's obviously destroying all of us. We're like, maybe it's not so good. Maybe it was better where if you needed to really communicate something to someone more than 3 miles away, you used smoke signals. Or you had a wagon and you had to somehow get it across a river. Like that took you a full day to get 5 miles away. There was wilderness separating you from the next town. I can't remember where I heard it. It was probably, I know where I heard it. It was on the fucking Joe Rogan Experience. I just don't want to keep saying that over and over on the podcast because I feel like it's too revealing of how little I read. But it was something about how you're not supposed to know that many people. The human mind, the human heart, whatever, the human soul. It's like once you know more than 17 people, you're dead inside. Like that's basically it. Like we're still supposed to be. I mean, I read the first 200 page of Sapiens 3 years ago, and the only thing I kept from it is that we never should have built cities. We should have remained foragers, carried everything on our backs, and just kind of moved with the seasons. So I guess what I'm saying is these Zoom comedy shows are shit. But also, I got a new fan. That's awesome. That's pretty cool. And what am I really going to complain to? What would my podcast be if I was just in a little group of 16 people? No, it'd be like bring in the buffalo herder, and there'd be like my podcast would just be me talking to the other 15 people at the campfire. And if I tell a joke one of them doesn't like, they'll kill me with a rock while I'm sleeping. To me, that's what comedy should be. It's like you should be able to shit on something and also know that you are fully part of it and also a complete hypocrite. It's okay to be a hypocrite. A lot of comedians think that comedy is now about letting people know your opinion on every issue that comes up. Google Israel-Palestine for 15 seconds and then start tweeting. That's like a comedian's journey in 2021. But before that, it used to be just making people laugh. All right, enough of this. I went to my first live sporting event about a week ago. It was awesome. Dodger Stadium. Went with a buddy of mine. Had some great seats. 4th row, left field, right where they hit home runs. Nobody hit a home. Well, did somebody hit a home run? Yeah, but all the whole home runs were righties that got pulled, unfortunately. Pulled to the other right field, but whatever. I'll take it. They were great seats. You were really like very even with the players. It was fun. I was wearing my Philly stuff. The Phillies were in town, so I repped. And the Dodgers are significantly better. I mean, every player on the Dodgers feels like they would be the best player on the Phillies. Like their pinch hitter comes up, I'm like, that would be our franchise right now. I mean, our franchise is Bryce Harper, who appears to be insane. And then after that, we have we have like a AA baseball team. So yeah, we lost. soundly in the game. Although with baseball, it's like it doesn't even matter. They play so many goddamn games that when you go to a game, it's like, oh, if a team's great, like a great team like the Dodgers, you're like, this team's dominant. They're going to win 70% of their games this season. That's a dominant season. That means because it's baseball, they're still going to lose like 80 games because they play, I think I have the math right here, 13 billion games every season before the playoffs start. So even the great teams lose a shit ton of games. So it's not like even a bad team can, any given Sunday. For baseball, it's any given day. But it was not the Phillies' day. They got their asses kicked. And I want to say, like, as a 35-year-old man, I feel like I've really calmed down in opposing team stadiums. I remember when I was a kid, I used to just really, like, I would go to Baltimore and be like, Cal Ripken sucks! And just scream, like, whoever their hero was, I would just go after their hero. And yeah, I guess I just didn't have a fear of getting my ass kicked. But now at the age of 35, like, you know, I don't want to, I'm starting to die. Why would I speed up the process by screaming at Dodgers fans? I mean, if I really want to speed up the process, I'll wear a Giants hat and get stabbed in the parking lot. Isn't that how it goes? Isn't that what, there's some sort of thing going on between the Dodgers and the Giants that, but yeah, I behaved myself at the game. It was amazing. I literally started crying. Brad Paisley came out and sang the national anthem. I had tears streaming down my face. It's just so fucking beautiful to be in a stadium with tens of thousands of people watching a game. It was amazing. Thank you. Thank you, California. Enough commercials of people dancing to piano music. More we get to go to baseball games and not wear a cloth thong over our face. We're open, baby. The game was awesome. Anyway, look, enough. There's the intro, all right? Now let's get to the part where I do a little bit. You get a little pre-planned bit action, and we get into Kent Graham. And you know why? Because the sooner we get into Kent Graham, the sooner we can get into another pre-planned bit, and then some more stuff from my life, and then the interview, which is, I think, the part people are waiting for. I don't fucking know. Let me know the part of the podcast you're waiting for. ErickHellwigComedy@gmail.com. Right into the show. And while you're doing that, if you're on Apple Podcasts, leave me a 5-star review. It's a beautiful, echoey show about mediocre quarterbacks from the 90s. We're going to get to ours right now, Kent Graham. That is after a pre-planned bit. Here we go. Enjoy it very much. Very much. Just enjoy it. Enjoy it whatever level you fucking want to. Bring in the Backups presents Letters Home from the Bench. November 1st, 2004. Chad Hutchinson writes, Dear Julia, how I treasure recollections of us intertwined. Today I led my men as quarterback for the Rhine Fire in Germany. This European League of American Football was designated to me by my commanding luminary, Jerry Jones. Mr. Jones has made it certain that I'll achieve restoration with my treasured cowboy countrymen, but only if I'm able to refine my throwing mechanics here in Deutschland. Julia, I feel consternation over this decree. I think that leather-faced snake oil salesman has been double-dealing me while carrying on with his captain of choice, Georgian legend Quincy Carter. I suppose time will tell. I cannot halt my feelings of ebullience to graze my fingertips to your cheek, Julia. My heart, it sings for you from beyond the bounding main. I pray you hear it. Forever yours, Chad. A beautiful tale from Chad Hutchinson. Let's get into Kent Douglas Graham. Kent Graham, baby, huh? Is he a Cardinals? Love him. Giants fans love him. Jaguars don't remember him. Steelers probably hated him because he competed with slash Cordell Stewart for a little bit. One of Cowher's worst moves, I think, was probably to go Graham over Stewart for a couple weeks there in the 2000 season. Then where do you think he was somewhere else? The Texans? He was on the Washington football team for his last season in the league, as I recall. His last playing days, I should say. We'll get to all of them. I'm going out of order. Let's start with his birth. He was born out of his mother on November 1st, 1968. Played at Notre Dame for one season, his freshman year, and then left for Ohio State because Lou Holtz, remember that crazy bastard? He was the coach at Notre Dame, and they were running an option run offense, which was not good for this cement-footed son of a bitch, Jeff Graham. Ken Graham is very slow. When you watch him in highlights, he's got like Bledsoe-like reaction time. Not a fast man. Tom Brady-like athleticism. Imagine Tom Brady without the career success, but like that draft body and that 40 time. That's Ken Graham. Shitty Tom Brady. So, he wasn't a fit in what Notre Dame was doing, so he transfers to Ohio State. And then the Buckeyes in the 91 season go 8-4. There you go. There you go, Kent Graham. And by the way, something else I noticed, he's 24 his rookie season in the NFL, which means he would have been 20 starting college, which means, did Kent Graham do like so many other quarterbacks on this show and get held back a year to dominate younger competition? I don't know, Kent. Something to follow up on. Anybody who knows Kent Graham in real life? Did you get held back, Kent? It's such a weird combination of shitty and brilliant to just hold those kids back, but it looks like he might have been one just based on the fact I don't think he got redshirted. I don't see that anywhere here on his Wikipedia page. And he's 24 as a rookie, so, he's not Chris Winkie level. I'm a 58-year-old rookie, but he's old as fuck. Anyway, gets his professional career. Drafted in the 8th round. Now, he's behind Phil Simms and Hostetler on the Giants, but they get injured, so he starts 3 games. Plays a little bit. Sucks. Then he goes to Detroit in 1995. This is where I just blast through his career in 15 seconds. No action in Detroit. And now, for the Cardinals, he gets some time. Let's take a look at this. For the Cardinals, he starts 14 games. Yeah, and he goes 5-9, and that's for the shitty Cardinals, huh? Not bad. The second year of that 97, they drafted Jake Plummer, so he's like the old man being like, "Let me show you the ropes, Jake." That was his role in the 97 season in Arizona. Only went 1-5 starting the second year in 97, but in 96 he goes 4-4, and he had some memorable games in Arizona. We're going to talk about those when I get to the end of this shit. Oh, we're going to talk about it. Anyway, he goes back to the Giants in 98-99, has an epic game. The soon-to-be world champion Denver Broncos, 1998. John Elway, helicopter hit, whatever. Well, they go to New York and lose to Kent Graham, which I think by definition means Kent Graham is better than John Elway. That's my understanding hosting this show. Is that, Kent Graham could have been as good as John Elway if he'd gotten a chance. They never get a chance. Fucking beautiful win, by the way. I mean, some Giants fans are going to remember this. Last minute, Kent Graham throws like a 50-yard pass from midfield to Amani Toomer, and they beat the, I think at the time, undefeated Broncos. That's late in the season. They beat them. A come-from-behind, game-winning drive, and he's got more of those. There's more where that came from. Anyway, he plays pretty well. In 99, he goes 5-4, but apparently his last 2 games he wasn't that good, so they get rid of him. He's gone. Then he goes to Pittsburgh, where he battles it out with Cordell Stewart, and in 5 starts, he throws 1 touchdown and 1 interception. All right. Not a lot of risk, not a lot of reward. A sweet quarterback rating of 63.4. Looks like a lot of screen passes from 2000 version of Kent Graham in Pittsburgh. And then in Washington, this is crazy. He goes 13 for 19 for the entire season. No starts. 2 touchdowns, no picks. He has 2 game-winning drives, but they're only coming in reserve of Tony Banks, who gets murdered that whole season for Washington. It's like he just gets crushed. And then I guess Kent Graham comes in a couple games and like works his magic. But the last play he throws a shovel pass to Kajana Carter for like 6 yards. This is in 2001. The Redskins at the time beat the Cardinals. And then Kent Graham never throws another pass in the NFL. I think he was on a roster for Houston but never played. So he ended his career with a game-winning drive. And guess how many game-winning drives he had? Anybody want to take a guess with Kent Graham? Okay, I discovered something. I actually prepared for this podcast, which I haven't done for like 4 months. You're welcome. But Kent Graham, total starts in his career, 38 starts, 9 game-winning drives from a guy who started 38 games. Now, just out of curiosity, who has the most ever comebacks? Oh, I looked that up too. It's Peyton Manning with 54 career game-winning drives on 265 games started, which is about, you can do the math, once every 5 wins. Once every 5 starts, Peyton Manning has a game-winning drive. Okay, well, let's do the math. Kent Graham has 9 game winners on 38 games started. That would be once every 4 games, which means Kent Graham is the single greatest comeback quarterback in NFL history, baby. I got the stats. Hell yeah. Did I just figure something out on this fucking podcast? Kent Graham could not be denied in the fourth quarter. And then I went back like a true sociopath and looked at every fucking YouTube video of every comeback he ever had. Strap in, bitches. Strap the fuck in for the Kent Graham roller coaster. 1994. Giants Oilers. Who do you think throws a touchdown in the last 3 minutes? 40 yards. Against those beautiful powder blue unis in Houston, that'd be Kent Graham. Game winner number 1. You fuck. All right, 19. Sorry. No, hang on. I lost the page. Let me go back to the page. That one was in 94. All right, 95, he takes a year off. He doesn't want to embarrass anybody in 95. 96, though. The idiot Giants have let go of Kent Graham, the future of their team. So he goes to Arizona. He goes to the desert. Let's look at what he does here. That's in game number 5. Comes back against the Rams. Throws 4 touchdown passes in a 31-28 victory over the Rams. And you better believe it was Frank Sanders with 11 seconds left in the fourth quarter to tie it 28-28, and then they beat him in overtime. That's 96 Cardinals-Rams. Game winner number 2. Game winner number 3 comes 10 weeks later. Arizona at Washington. The Cardinals win 27-26. What does he do? I don't know. I didn't write that one down, but he did something. They won. If I didn't write it down, that means like the running back took it in or they returned a punt. But who gives a fuck? It still counts as a game winner. You don't think Peyton's got some bullshit ones in there too? He does. They're not all like last-minute passes. That's number 3. Number 4, we go to the year 1997. He's still in Arizona. He beats the Cowboys. Cardinals win 25-22. How did he do that? I wrote it down. All I wrote down was in the desert with Plummer looking on, which means I think I was watching a replay on YouTube and you saw Jake Plummer for a second, and I liked him a lot. So it was probably like another one where the defense did something. But whatever, he gets credit. That's number 4. Number 5 for Kent Graham. How boring is it? How many people have been like, why the fuck am I listening to this podcast? 97, it's Cardinals at the Eagles. Now, this one hurt. But he quarterback sneaks it in with 3 minutes left, his first rushing touchdown of his career. That's comeback win number 5. Now we go to 1998. The Giants have come to their senses. They've brought back Kent Graham. This is the one we already talked about. Beats the Broncos. It's 20-16. Giants win. They win on the last second heave to Amani Toomer. Beautiful touchdown pass down the fucking field. Now we go to 99. He's still with the Giants. Giants, Cowboys. This was the screen pass to Tiki Barber. He's under amazing pressure. He can't move his feet because he's an old bastard. So he drops it off to Tiki, who does everything, runs for 60 yards down to the 2-yard line. They kick a field goal. They win. What do we got there? That's number 7. Then he does it to the Eagles again. This one's in 99. Throws it to Heath Mitchell to tie in the fourth quarter. They win it in overtime. Another clutch move to hurt my team. Then we go to our last year, and this really was the special one. This is in the year 2001, okay? This is after 9/11. The country's reeling. What do they need? They need Kent Graham. Washington's playing the Broncos again. Man, he owns the Broncos. He owns the Broncos. Mike Shanahan sees Kent Graham ass-fucking him in his nightmares, all right? 17-10, all right? What does he do? So Tony Banks gets hurt. He gets murdered on a play. Somebody just kills him. And then, Kent Graham throws 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. One to Michael Westbrook, a second one to Zeron Flemister. So happy to hear that name. As soon as I heard it, I was like, I remember that guy, like third-string tight end for the Washington football team in 2001. I remembered him. Skins beat the Broncos. And then later that season, he comes in for Tony Banks gets like pile driven on his neck from the upper deck and is dead. He comes in for one play. Kent Graham comes in for one play. It's that shovel pass. Kajana Carter, 8 yards, sets up, field goal. Washington wins. Come on. 9. That's 9 comeback wins for Kent Graham. I mean, who doesn't want that? He's got 17 wins he as a starter. He's 17-21 in his career in the NFL. But he has 9 come from behind wins. I mean, who's the guy you think about when you think about, considering he was on the Cardinals for 2 years, you think of Jake Plummer, huh? He's the guy he mentored for 1997. I looked up Jake Plummer too. Jake Plummer has 30. Jake Plummer has 30 come from behind wins out of 132 starts. That's still a smaller ratio or a bigger ratio than Kent Graham. Kent Graham does it like every 4 starts. I don't know what to say. The dude got it done in crunch time. Now, granted, a lot of these scores are like 13-10, 17-10. Like, he seems like he was still not very good. Overall, look at his quarterback rating for his career. What does he fall to? Career. 69. Yeah, there you go, buddy. How perfect is that? More touchdowns than picks, though. 39 touchdowns. 33 picks. What's his completion percentage? 51.8. All right, not so good. What are you going to say? This guy, if you're going to be a backup, this is what you want. You want to come in and win games like this, which is what he did. I love it. And I love those old Cardinals uniforms, man. I was watching his highlights, and I was like, when will the Cardinals bring back the flag of Arizona on the sleeve? You remember that? Remember they're playing in a really crappy stadium somewhere in Phoenix, and there's like dust on the field, and they've got the sleeve of Arizona. I mean, just go back to what you were wearing. I would say the one thing that would look cool, because there's a little bit of blue in the flag, do a little blue trim around the white numbers, huh? Keep a little bit of yellow because there's the beak of the cardinal. And there's yellow in the flag of the state. So just use like blue and yellow a little bit and keep the primary colors red and white and keep it simple. Cardinals go to one of the best uniforms in the league. It's not hard. Go back to the old shit. What else we got with Kent Graham? Yeah, he got a quarterback controversy with Cordell Stewart, which we talked about a little bit. Bill Cowher apparently was almost fired. I didn't know this. Was almost fired for giving Cordell Stewart too many chances. So I think that's why Kent Graham started that 2000 season for the Steelers. And even though he only threw 1 touchdown in 5 games, that was it. He had to go back, or I should say, Bill Cowher had to go back to Cordell Stewart. But I love Cordell Stewart. I think he was a little underrated. Anyway, that's Kent Graham. What's his personal life? His son, Taylor Graham, attended the New York Giants rookie minicamp in 2015. Obviously didn't make it, so that's that. But good for him. Little, like father, like son. Although the son couldn't live up to the father, so, that's not fair. Maybe Taylor's doing great things with his life. Taylor, if you're out there, anybody know Taylor Graham, son of Kent Graham? Let's get him on the podcast. I wonder if I'm going to have a real quarterback on the podcast soon. I wonder if that's going to come up later. I wonder. Keep listening. I might have an announcement later on. But let's not worry about that right now. We've covered Kent Graham. This dude, hell of a backup, fun career, comeback victories, throwing bombs with less than 2 minutes left on multiple teams. This dude was a badass. Tried to find him on social media. This dude is off the grid, all right? He is drinking his own piss in the woods somewhere. I could not find him anywhere. Or his son. Anybody. The Grahams are not on the gram, all right? I cannot find them. Also, the name Kent Graham sounds like any white dude in the middle of the country. There's too many of you. Too many Kent Grahams. So if somebody knows Kent, he had some fucking comebacks. Let's get to our next pre-planned bit, and then, more me bitching about my life. But for now, just enjoy the bit. If you want something done right, you need to do it yourself. Unless it's telling your audience how to support your podcast, because that shit gets old real quick. I think you should outsource it. And that's what I've done. Welcome to My Friends and Family Plug My Show. These are real people with real reasons why you should support me. I hope you listen. I hope you hear. And I do hope you support.
Hi, everyone. It's Maddie and Smitty from the Sports and Ship podcast. We've had Erick Hellwig on before, twice on our very podcast. I am Maddie, and my co-host is the president of the Erick Hellwig fan club.
I sure am.
You are, Smitty. You are. You know where you become a member of that fan club? Is right at erickhellwig.com.
Yeah, go on over there. Check him out. Rate and review, subscribe, buy some fucking merchandise. I mean, he's a hard-up comedian.
Yeah, join the newsletter, because I'm sure that's a real good read. Yeah, go ahead and do that. 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Go ahead and do that. Follow it on any other platform you may listen to the Erick Hellwig Bring in the Backups podcast.
And, go see him on tour or whatever.
Yeah, maybe we will too. So you want to go to erickhellwig.com. He's sort of funny.
Oh, thank you very much, Maddie and Schmitty, my friends on the Sports and Shit podcast. Since they sent that into me, I did their show a third time. They had their year anniversary for their podcast, which is hilarious. I'm going to recommend everybody go follow them right now. You can find them on Twitter at Sports and Shit. Actually, let me make sure I'm giving you the right one here. Yeah, it's Sports, the letter N, Shit, Pod. Find them on Twitter, and then obviously anywhere you're going to find podcasts, Apple, Spotify, all that good stuff. They are really hilarious dudes and big fans of the show, so I'm sure they're listening now. Thank you guys for writing in. And they said rate and review. They didn't say where. I'll say it again. Apple Podcast. That's where you got to do it. Apple Podcast is the place to go support the show right now. Get me some of them likes. I'm at almost up to 200, which is awesome. I don't know if something happens at 200. Probably not, but it'd be great to find out. So let's get up there. When this drops, I want to see 200 5-star reviews. Or, throw me a 1-star review. Change it up. I don't even want to fucking joke about that. Please don't, all right? 5 stars or don't say anything at all. While I'm on the list of thanking people, I did some other podcasts. Larry Knows Sports, my friend Brian Packman, a.k.a. Larry the Athlete. You can follow him at Larry the Athlete on Instagram and Twitter. Mainly Twitter, I think, is where he hangs out and posts most of his content. Brian's got a very funny show. I love going on there and talking sports. I think I'll be back on this week to complain about the fucking Sixers. Jesus Christ, don't get me started on that. Other podcasts I want to give a quick shout out to. Philly Specialist, the Philly Specialist, Erick and Salvato. The guy didn't give me his real name the whole time. He kept Salvato, so I got to sound like I'm in like a fucking mafia movie. But Salvato and Erick, you can follow them at the Philly Specialist. I just got in a huge fight with Erick about Nick Foles on that one. Like it was like borderline. I thought they were going to just hang up on me, but it ended up, I think it was fine. But yeah, if you want to listen to me almost get kicked off someone's podcast, check out the Philly Specialist. They're cool dudes. I also did Shall We Football with AJ Ryan and Colt, the North Carolina boys. Some of them I think were from North Carolina or at least living there. I think it was Colt who was from the Outer Banks, which I was always curious about. Like when I go to the Outer Banks, been there for like a couple weddings. I used to go a little bit more when I was a kid, up to Corolla Beach, rent a house, share a room with my brother, go to the beach, get sand in my taint. You know how it is. Fun. I love the Outer Banks. I thought it was great. I just love the beach. But I was always curious, what's it like in a beach town when it's just you in the town? I think like everybody leaves and it's just like the cops and like a couple people and they fist each other and that's that, I guess. But yeah, so I go on that podcast. I think I talked to Colt a little bit about that. not fisting the cops about, and by the way, that's a platonic fisting. That's not like a political statement. That's like everybody's having a good time. No, we talked about football and stuff. They actually have a really fun setup for the way they run their show. They have like a slide presentation for their YouTube page, so it just feels like you're in like a dirty TED Talk, which I really enjoyed. So check out Shall We Football. They're at SWF_podcast on Twitter. Also did the Grease Pole podcast with Corey and his producer Justin. You can guess Grease Pole podcast. Well, I guess you couldn't guess that. But it's a Philly podcast in reference to drunk dudes climbing on poles when the Super Bowl happened. That's what I interpreted it as. Grease Pole podcast was fun. Chatted with Corey a little bit there. And then I also just did the Browns Blitz with Rod Bloom and his brother Jeff Bloom. And we just talked about sibling rivalry, which is, a fun thing. I got a brother. I won't tell you guys where my brother lives. Can't trust you. I have too many fans. Just too many rabid fans out there. You guys get that I'm not serious when I say that, right? I think you do. Anyway, Browns Blitz was a lot of fun with Rod Bloom and his brother Jeff. You can follow them at the Browns Blitz on Twitter. I gotta do less podcasts, or I gotta do more episodes of my own podcast. So when I throw people a shout out, it doesn't take like 40 fucking minutes. I did like 6 podcasts. That's why it takes so long to give everybody their shout out. Anyway, thanks for having me on, everybody. I'll link to them in the show notes under the YouTube video as well. So yeah, if you want to support this show, a great way to do that is make people that are supporting me feel the love, or give them that bring in the backups bump. I guess now is a good time to make a little announcement. Next week on the show, I'm going to have an NFL quarterback, baby, Jabron Hamden, who, if anybody here follows the Instagram page for Bringing the Backups, which you can, it's just Bringing the Backups on Instagram. Jabron started talking I posted a little photo of him saying he would be the starter in Washington. A joke, obviously. Jabron's 40 now and been out of the league for 10 years. And I see a little guy named Jabron right under the handle. Is this real? And I'm like, no, bro, I'm just joking around. Are you real? Is this really Jabron Hamden? I went to high school with Jabron Hamden. He was a senior when I was a freshman. So, we got a little bit of a high school connection. He was in D.C. as a quarterback when I was still there in school. He got drafted by his hometown team. It's a whole thing. He starts talking back. I invite him on the show. Don't hear anything. I think, okay, he's just like everybody else, huh? And Charlie Fry would talk to me. Charlie Fry talked to me and then never responded when I said do the show. And I thought Jabron was in the same, way. I thought he was going to I thought I was getting ghosted by Jabron. Turns out Jabron writes back a couple days ago, I'll be your first. I'll be your first. The magical words. Now, he thought I was a virgin. He was offering to have sex with me. But once I clarified I wanted him to come on my show, he said, well, I'll do that too. So we never hooked up, but we did do a virtual interview. It was amazing. That's going to be the next episode of the podcast, so hang out for that. Subscribe now, wherever you're listening to this show. Next episode, you're going to hear me talking to an actual guy in the NFL. I'll give you a little teaser. We talk about stealing signs from Mike Holmgren. It was fucking amazing, everybody. I've been on cloud 9 since it happened. That's next. That's 2 weeks from now. Subscribe to the show. I'll be advertising it a bunch. Do not miss it. Jabron Hamden, NFL quarterback, on the next episode of the show. The ultimate backup, by the way. Career stats are 1 for 2 for 7 yards. I could not fucking make that up for this podcast. I would kick Tom Brady off of my new balcony to let Jabron up to do my podcast. I don't want Tom Brady. I want Jabron Hamden, and I got him. He's the big get. He's on the show. Check it out in 2 weeks. Subscribe wherever you're listening right now. All right. But let's just get to our last pre-planned bit and bring Anthony onto the show, which is just so fucking exciting. I'm getting such great guests, man. Anthony's a comic I loved when I lived in New York. I used to book him on my show. A really funny dude. Also, I think this is important to tell people, a really nice guy as well in real life. Always struck. That was his reputation amongst the lesser, newer comics around him. So we'd all be like, why can't everybody be nice to us like Anthony? That was how we all talked. So it was really cool to get him on the show. I'm excited to have him on the show. Before we do that, third and final pre-planned bit coming at you right now. Bring in the Backups presents Deep breath. A practice of mindfulness and meditation. And a deep breath in. And a deep breath out. Take a moment here to cover your breath with your awareness, like a blanket. Now, usually at this point, the word blanket would trigger me and take me away from my awareness of breath. But that's not going to happen this time. No siree, Bob. No siree, Bob. Why am I talking like I'm in the Little Rascals? Ugh, look, no offense to that show, okay? It's the last time a pit bull wasn't portrayed like a fucking wolf on steroids and coke. And by the way, as far as shows go, I'll take a little pit bull helping out some poor kids every day of the week. You know what? I'll take my own pit bull, Gordon, over any of you that I haven't already met and enjoy your company. How about that? I am squarely in the dogs over people category. And will be until, I don't know, until if I ever have a kid. I don't know. Life is its own journey. We'll see. But if I have a kid, you know, it'll probably go my kid, my dog, other adults. Unless my kid is possessed, like if he's Satan. You know those horror movies where the kids kill the parents and you're like, just fucking kill your kid. He's not a kid anymore. He's Satan. God, if I come into my kid's room and there's a Ouija board on fire and he's floating above it with red eyes, speaking in tongues, I'm drop kicking that little motherfucker out the window. You're back to number one, Gordon. You're back to number one. Not today, Satan. I don't like how horror movies make me feel. Woo! And a deep breath in. And a deep breath out. Just breathe. Let's get to our guest, Anthony Devito. Now, you can follow him on Instagram, where I think he's the most active, probably posts the most stuff for shows he has coming up, so that's where I'll send you to, at comedian Anthony Devito. Now, if you're not in the New York area, for sure support Anthony on his Instagram page. But if you are in like the greater, like I said, New York, whatever part of the world, on Saturday, August 4th at 7:30 p.m. at Union Hall, Anthony is putting on a show, My Dad Isn't Danny DeVito. Tickets are $15. He has the Eventbrite link up right now on his Instagram. So just go to his Instagram. It's in his bio. You can click it. If you guys are in the area, you should. Please go support Anthony at his one-man show, which looks like it's going to be great. Again, tickets are on Instagram. I know you're all on Instagram. I mean, if you're not, fucking get on it. Gee, I don't know. Or get your wife to go on it. Let's be real. You're probably like, well, I'm above it. You know, you got upset after January 6th. And you dropped all social media. I'm talking about like two of my friends. No, look. Go on Instagram or get on someone's account who does have Instagram. The Eventbrite link is right there. Check out this show. It's going to be awesome. The interview was a lot of fun. We talked about great stuff. All I remember, because I recorded the interview with him a while ago, and then randomly I found a picture of Jeremy Shockey online. It was like something popped up, and I remember that he briefly came up in the podcast. But I just saw the photo of Jeremy Shockey's eagle tattoo, which blew me away. I don't know if you haven't seen the tattoo. It's like twice the size of an actual full-grown adult eagle on his arm. And it's like so American. Like, I'm a very American dude. I love America. I think it's a great country. It's hard to out-American me. You know, like my dad was in the military, like cry at national anthems, blah, 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 blah. But I looked at this tattoo and I was like, dude, we get it. Jesus Christ. This is like a little overkill with the fucking eagle tattoo. Like, it's literally, it's got like a flag in its beak and it's fish hooking Osama bin Laden. The eagle's dick is like the new World Trade Center. It's insane. It's too much. Whatever. Why am I doing bits? Let's get to the interview. Like I said, Anthony, great guest on the show. Had a lot of fun. Support him on his social media, and most importantly, enjoy the interview right now.
But I'd like to do it. Just marriage seems so easy to get lazy. There's no end date. It's just forever. Marriage should be like politics, where every couple years your partner votes to keep you in there. Because then I'd check the date before I farted. I'd be like, ooh, better hold it in. It is an election year. Yeah. You know? I want to be a two-term husband, despite what the polls say. My mom, she's super conservative, and I'm not, but I think it's more our age difference that we differ politically. She's 73, I'm 36. We're concerned about very different things. Like, her biggest fear are Mexicans. And my biggest fear is she'll say that to someone. That is every day. I'm like, don't, come on, no, not in front of Javier. He's a good guy. You gotta get to know him. But that's why I think each age group should have their own president. Just to address the needs of their people. 20-year-old president's like, yeah, the price of tequila shots are too high. 30-year-old president's like, oh, why won't anyone marry me? 40-year-old president's like, oh, is it cool if we fuck the 20-year-old president? What is the wiggle room there? Because I have done it, so,
How you been, man? It's been a while since I've seen you.
Yeah, man, I've been good. I've just been, in Queens basically the whole time. So, it's nice. Things are starting to get back to normal, which is great.
Yeah, so I lived in Queens. I lived in Astoria for 5 years before we moved out to the West Coast.
Right.
And so we went back to visit because my wife's family's in Long Island, and we were walking around. This is like I want to say like March or something, and it felt like Astoria was still a thing. Like, people were wearing masks, but it was like the crowds were busy as shit. It was very different from LA, where it feels like a ghost town. Yeah. So I don't know if that's been your experience, but like it felt like New York still had a shit ton of people on top of each other.
Astoria, definitely. Astoria was on the news a bunch for like hookah lounges refusing to shut down. But no, you would walk around and it looked like spring break. Like I was, and that, that's your only window into the world. And I was like, oh, we're fucked. Like it's just a bunch of 20-year-old Greeks just trying to finger each other. I was like, we'll never get out of this. There's no way.
It's so interesting. Like I took, my wife's immunocompromised, so we were like, super serious about it.
For sure.
And then I got vaxxed and I did a comedy festival in Ohio. And it took me like a day to be like, I feel weird for wearing a mask. Like they were like maskless, fisting each other, like just over it so much. And then I came back to California being like, all right, I guess it's time to start booking live shows. And it was like the exact opposite. People here were like, I love my mask. I haven't been sick for a year. Like just...
Oh, 100%. Because it would be the exact opposite, Because in New York, if you saw someone even outside for a while without a mask on, you would be like, how dare you? But if you were in Cincinnati indoors at a bar with a mask on, it was like, I don't trust this person. Who are you? You're not an American.
I guess I'll take it off then. Yeah. It was a weird. It's definitely it's such a social compliance thing. I feel like even if you have like really strong feelings of it, if you're hanging out somewhere where everybody else feels the exact opposite, you're just like, I'm just gonna blend in here. I don't feel like getting my ass kicked one way or the other. Like either side, I feel like, yeah.
Well, that was always a conundrum, I would say, as a guy. It was always like, do I get COVID or do I get called a pussy? And what am I willing to take? 2 weeks of not being able to smell or taste, or just some people in the room that I don't know thinking I'm a coward?
Dude, I feel like that's the question for everything as a guy. Is like, do I hydrate myself or be a pussy?
Right.
Do I
Totally.
do I accept
anything
therapy
for
as
the
a way?
betterment? Yeah. Do I do anything to help myself, or do I risk being called a pussy? It's so sad.
There's an old movie that was on ESPN. This is like, I must have been like a kid. And it was about Bear Bryant. But before he was at Alabama, I guess it was like some Texas school he was at. And he was doing like a football preseason camp in the summer in Texas.
Right.
And it was like, the movie could have been called If You Drink Water, You're a Pussy. Like, that's literally what the whole plot of the movie was. There's like kids like almost dying of heat exhaustion. Like, that's like, you're tough if you don't drink water. And it wasn't the movie wasn't like making a point about how fucked up that was. It was like, look at how great this coach is. Look at him not letting these pussies drink water. This is how football is played.
That teenage linebacker is going to die of dehydration. What an honorable way to go.
Now put your CTE-less helmet on and go play the game the way God meant.
It's so stupid. They played in like leather hats, and they were just like, this was a time when men were men. And it's like, what, stupid? Well, like, there's a reason why we've come to a different place. Like, we've all agreed whatever that was back then was reckless and irresponsible. And the people that long for those days, I'm always like, man, try being alive in those days with who you are now. You would never. You would be like, this is terrible. Like, New York. I mean, I remember I grew up in New York. I grew up in Jersey, but I grew up in, around New York in the 80s and 90s. And nobody went here because it was so dangerous. And then you have people that move here from like other places now, and they're like, man, I wish Times Square wasn't all M&M stores. And it's like, yeah, it used to be burning buildings and prostitutes, and you couldn't go there. It was horrible.
Yeah, you used to. Where in New Jersey did you grow up?
I grew up in Bloomfield in North Jersey. So very, very, very Italian neighborhood.
Sure. I lived in Jersey for 2 years when I was a kid. My dad was stationed. He was in the Army. So we were at this place called Fort Monmouth, which I don't think exists anymore. Okay. But I know I went to school in Red Bank one year, which was really hoity-toity.
Yes.
I don't even know where in the state that is, though. What is that? Like, I know it's on the coast.
It's like central South Jersey. You might get in some arguments with Jersey people about if that's considered central or south. But Red Bank was always known, known for a couple things. At first, it was known for its beautiful fireworks display. Okay. Red Bank was at the forefront of fireworks, and then at some point, they just stopped inventing, and no one knows why. For a while, they were doing things with fireworks like Gandalf was doing in Lord of the Rings, where they were making shapes and animals, and everyone was like, oh my God, Red Bank, they're pioneers of fireworks. And then for whatever reason, they stopped inventing. And then Kevin Smith is from there, so then it kind of got put on the map because of that.
Dude, so the movie Dogma, where they're fighting and killing people outside of that church. So I went to a Catholic school my second year. I was in a public school the first year, a private school in the second year. I don't even remember the name of the school, but that was the school from the movie Dogma.
Okay. Yeah, I know
so it's
exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, like it was a beautiful church. And did they get permission to like shoot this anti-religion movie like right on the step? I don't know how they got that. But it was like, I just remember like I was an altar boy in there, like lighting candles and shit. And then I see it in a movie like 15 years later, like I think I went to fucking school there. So I don't know. Somebody signed a document they weren't paying attention to.
Honestly, man, Kevin Smith was he was the face of New Jersey for so long that I kind of think for a while he could do whatever he wanted there.
He's the king of Jersey.
Yeah, man, because that was on the heels of Clerks and Mallrats, and people let Chasing Amy go by as if that wasn't like a 2-hour romp about homophobia. He was so popular, and then I like Dogma. I'm actually a big fan of that movie. Yeah, but that was before he did. I think a couple. I like the first Jay and Silent Bob. I think he might have done another one that bombed, and maybe Jersey Girl, if I'm not mistaken. So that's when people looked at him sideways. But before that, he was regarded as a genius, and he was from New Jersey, which is always exciting.
Was Jersey
So, yeah.
Jersey Girls the one with Ben Affleck and Liv Tyler, right?
I
Where,
believe
like-
in George Carlin. Yes.
Yeah, I vaguely remember a scene where there's like Ben Affleck's wife is dead,
Yeah.
and he's like, I haven't had sex in 8 years, some ridiculous,
Right.
and Liv Tyler's like, I'll suck your dick now, and he's like, my kid's downstairs. Like that's the scene. It's like
Yeah.
he fucks with his kid in the house or something. I think that's
Yeah.
I think that's Jersey Girl, but I never saw the movie.
Interesting, but that you know a whole scene from it though. What do you mean?
I don't know. I have no idea why. Maybe I was just Googling Ben Affleck. I wanted to catch up on.
I don't know, man. Seems to me like you've definitely seen the movie. I mean, I
actually have it on Laserdisc. I just pull the camera back.
Yeah.
It's playing behind me. Never seen it, man.
Yeah, I don't remember. I remember seeing that movie because that was a thing where I don't know if you were like this, where I would watch pretty much any movie that a stand-up comedian was in, and then
Yes.
George Carlin being like one of my favorites. I was always just so excited for him to be doing other things, and I think that movie wasn't bad, but I think it wasn't good enough, and it was after a string of like maybe bombs that it kind of cemented him as like, oh, he's bad now. You know, like M. Night Shyamalan kind of got that treatment a little bit too.
Have you ever rewatched The Sixth Sense after you know the twist? Did you ever watch it a second time?
No, I don't think I want. I'm worried that I might not want to. You know?
Why not? It's everybody look. Spoiler alert if you haven't fucking seen The Sixth
that's
Sense yet.
Crazy, yeah.
When you watch it knowing he's dead, it's not a scary movie anymore. It's like a tragedy, and it's about people not talking to each other. But me and my wife watched it, and we're like, this is really fucking sad. When you know what's going on, it's like it really works on a different level. So I know he gets hate because he's made 20 shitty movies in a row, but that movie's brilliant. Like
that movie's brilliant. And sorry to cut you off. I don't know if you had you were going on a tear of M. Night movies.
I remember there's one where like the plants are killing you.
The Happening. That's kind of where he lost it. And I would argue it's not a terrible premise, but it's just the execution of it.
Yeah.
The idea is like, okay, we've been horrible to nature. So at some point, nature needs to protect itself because that's what nature does. So they develop these toxins which kill people, and we're the people that's causing nature to die. It's not a terrible premise, but when you see it in action, you go, this is stupid.
This is a dumb movie. I remember.
But I would argue, I loved Unbreakable, man. I'm a big Unbreakable fan.
Unbreakable is good. Yes.
Yeah.
I do like that movie. I saw. The one where the Joaquin Phoenix and the aliens. Signs.
Yeah.
So I remember I watched that as a kid and was like, this movie is so scary. The part where the alien walks by the kid's birthday party.
Yes.
If you rewatch that movie now, it really, really is not good. The alien's not scary. It just looks like a droopy, Gumby dude. Yeah. And then the whole end is like the aliens can't. That water hurts them. Mm-hmm. And so and then Joaquin Phoenix picks up a baseball bat and remembers his mom drinking water and then starts smashing water glasses to kill the alien. It's like you could just throw water on it.
Because when his wife was dying, if I'm not mistaken, when Mel Gibson's wife was dying in the car accident,
when she's pinned against the tree, yeah,
it's a little crazy. She goes, "Swing for the fences." So he puts it together in that moment that it means he's got to beat up this alien with a baseball bat, like a snitch, like the mafia would, a guy they're trying to shake down.
It's not even a metaphor for anything. Swing for the. Oh, do you mean just beat the shit out of the alien? Okay, got it.
Yeah. The idea is that there's signs everywhere, and you just need to look and hear, which is also a dangerous way to walk through life. If you now go, well, that premise is real, then it's like, well, everything is a sign, and then you could do horrendous things in the name of fate.
Oh man, M. Night. I didn't know we would go on a tear for going against my man.
Down to talk M. Night. I didn't hate Lady in the Water. I'll say it.
I never saw that one. Is that like another fucking octopus movie? Because I feel like there's a lot of those lately.
I mean, it's a sea creature-ish movie, but the problem with Lady in the Water is if that had come out like 3 movies before, it would have been pretty good. But at that point, everyone had written him off so badly. Everyone was like, let's see how bad this guy will make a movie. So no one was going into that movie on good faith. People were going into that movie like, I hope I hate this so much.
Dude, it's so like how you can frame stuff like that. I mean, this will be a little transition into sports, But it's like you talk about like quarterbacks who like something like Blake Bortles. Who people are like he fucking sucks, dude. He sucks, and it's like he doesn't suck. Like he beat the Steelers 45-42 in a playoff game. Took this team to the championship. Like he had solid numbers. I know some were garbage time, but like he doesn't suck. He's probably like the 30th best quarterback in the league. Like that's not terrible. Like he should have a job. But it's like you just, I mean, I don't know. Even like, I don't know. Did you pay attention to the Kwame Brown stuff?
Oh, man.
It's
it's
just the best.
Greatest.
It's like, it makes me so happy. God. But like, it's, like I was in DC in 2001 in high school when he got drafted. Okay. I remember dogging on him with all my friends, being like, this guy fucking, like a 6'11" dude wouldn't beat the shit out of me if he saw me in real. Like, big man talking smack to Kwame Brown. But like, he was in the league for 13 years or something. Like
totally.
Like life-changing money generated for his family. Like how the fuck is that a bust?
I think when and you're right, man. For what it was, he had solid numbers. Also, it's like when you're taking a guy out of high school, it's so crazy that any of them ever worked out. Yeah. If you're taking a guy out of high school and then he's got to play with Michael Jordan, just a 40-year-old psychopath at the time. It is amazing that any of these guys, are able to have a career. I can't imagine myself being plucked out of high school and all of a sudden I'm on the road with grown men who know nothing of fidelity, Yeah, but, Kwame Brown, man. Going back to that, I think it's when you're such a top pick. Like Blake Bortles was a number 1 pick, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, he was.
And Kwame Brown was a number 1 pick. So when you're that high of a pick, people just react so differently because they have this idea of what you're going to be in their heads. And it's like, well, Kwame Brown, it's like, there's no footage, man. There's just high school footage. Man, he's dunking over guys like me. And you're like, I don't know. I hope he's good in the NBA.
There's like an 8mm reel of him dunking on Anthony DeVito. And they're like, take him one. This guy's the future. Yeah.
Look what he did to this 4'11" Italian kid who's got no business being out there. Like, what made you think it would ever work out? So the fact that Anthony Bennett is the case for me that I'm like, that's a bust to be. Because he had a year in college, I think. And then his career, there's barely a stat line there. It's rough. But Kwame, for what it was, he had a decent career.
Yeah, and I also think it's like, I try to reserve busts for like someone who I genuinely think fucked up their own career, like versus like someone who like, okay, maybe they were just evaluated wrong or like someone like Jamarcus Russell is, I think it's fair to call him a bust. Did you ever see the thing where he was trying to come back with Jeff Garcia?
No.
So
sounds horrendous.
So funny, dude. It was like, I can't remember what his last year in the NFL was, 2010 or something. And then, in like 2014, it's like this little YouTube miniseries you can watch. It's like a couple episodes long. And Jeff Garcia's training him. He loses like 50 pounds. He's like, I'm getting back in the NFL. I'm putting it back on. I'm restoring my name. I'm working my ass off. The video series ends with him being like, all right, it's time to go meet some teams. We did the work. I'm in. And then a week later, there was like a settlement from the Raiders where he got $20 million and he never was heard from again. Like he was like, all right, now I got what I needed. But
yeah, man, I get it. I always pull for those guys, those athletes, especially the high picks, or like they had so much notoriety in college and they make this big push to make it. Like I think like Lawrence Phillips might have done that. Maurice Claret might have done that. I'm always pulling for those guys, even if I don't. I mean, I went to University of Miami. I obviously like. I have a strong disdain for Maurice Claret, but anybody who's like, that successful at the college level, I do want to see it work out for them. And it almost never does.
So if I'm trying to think, I'm assuming I'm 35. You're like around my age.
38. Mm-hmm.
So was that like Ken Dorsey? Was that the quarterback when you were there? All right.
Yeah. It was Dorsey, Jeremy Shockey, McGahee, Sean Taylor. Vilma.
Oh yeah,
it was a bananas team in terms of talent. And the best was they were so talented and so athletic. And Ken Dorsey, like there were moments I saw him walking around and I would go, I think I could beat up our starting quarterback. He was just this lanky,
rail thin, man.
Rail thin of a guy. Yeah, man, they were amazing. When I used to play intramural basketball, I used to watch Vince Wilfork's child in between games. Very nice guy.
Yeah. Wait,
Yeah.
the kid was your age?
Yeah, he was about 22 years old. And we would just talk about chicks and stuff like that.
Nice. Yeah, dude. That was a crazy hurricane. I guess I'm trying to remember. It was at Miami, right, where McGahee, like, his knee exploded the wrong direction.
Yeah,
That must have been when you were there.
I think that's if I'm not mistaken, I think is that the Ohio State game that happened?
It was like I feel like I want to say it was like a playoff game or it was like something at the end of the season where he was about to go to the NFL.
Yes, it was. That's one of those videos to this day where I can't watch because you see his leg, you see his leg flip around. That's one of those where you go, how does he walk again? After that?
Yeah, dude.
Let alone be a competent NFL player for years. No, he was, McGahee, it was nuts. He used to be in line in front of me at the food hall at Chartwell's, and he used to get more chicken than I would, and I had growing resentment for that. And then,
they would hook him. You're saying they would hook him up?
Hook him up, man. He would get it was so obvious because I would be behind him in line and they would give him like 15 pieces of chicken and I would be like, all right, now where's my 15 pieces of chicken? And I would get like 2 duds, not even a good part of the bird.
You're like a burnt nugget.
Yeah, basically. One fry. I would be like, this isn't even chicken, ma'am. This is a French fry. They would be like, well, be happy with what you got.
See, I went to a small school. I went to a school called Christopher Newport in Southern Virginia, and the athletes, they didn't even have athletic scholarships. It was D3,
right.
So it was like they would have to like put them into like leadership program, like just bullshit, so they would not have to pay to be there.
Oh, totally.
But the athletes at that level, which were like not that much bigger than me, and they're basically playing like the school for the blind or something. Like it was not like a real college atmosphere. Even they ruled the campus when I was there.
Oh yeah.
So if you're like someone, I don't know, I can't imagine. I didn't go to a big school, but like those dudes must have just fucking run roughshod.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, like the UM basketball team. I mean, they've had some players over the years, but like they really weren't ever much to really talk about. And Darius Rice went there, who is Jerry Rice's, I think, nephew. Man, I never saw that guy carry a book once, and I'd see him all the time. Not even a pamphlet, not even a piece of paper, not a single pen. I never saw him with a solitary pen. Yeah, man.
Sounds like a
they
good
would
life.
run. I was a theater minor, and I had there was an offensive tackle in my class, this guy Erick Winston, who was highly touted. I'm not sure if he went to the NFL or not. He's from, I believe, Lubbock, Texas. And he took a liking to me, and he was my scene partner for stuff. And man, I think there was like one thing we had to do this scene, and I don't know, I thought it was so funny to like when you're just like do stuff when you're like, oh, this is for me and there are no rules and it'll all be fine. We did this scene where I whenever they would be like, do the script, I would go, we're never gonna do the script. So him and I would just improvise stuff. And man, we did some horrendous scene that was like, yeah, we should have. I don't know how you fail someone from doing a scene in class, but we should have easily. But I think we got an A just because it was like I was attached to this offensive tackle.
Maybe he has, and maybe he has a career in acting. Who knows, man? Like maybe that could have unlocked something in his spirit.
Perhaps, man. Yes, he had a good sense of humor. I'll say that because he was so funny because we had to like go around the room and like you had to like say something clever, you would do with these handcuffs, and like most people were like, made it somewhat sexual. And I was like, I'm more interested in the nightstick for sex. Pop that sucker up there, see what happens. And it bombed horribly. Nobody laughed. But then Winston looked at me and he went, this guy's funny. That's my guy. And then from there on out, we were like, we were scene partners for the whole semester.
That's nice, man. I took a journalism class where one of the football players was like sitting next to me. We ended up partnering on a couple like stories that we had to write together.
Right.
And I was like in school I wanted to be a sports journalist when I went to college.
Right.
I literally went to a school where I could cover the football team my freshman year.
Right. I see.
And he got a better grade in the class than I did. And it was like, I knew what I was doing. He was literally just like repeating back whatever the teacher said and like writing these very basic articles. I was writing I had like great lead-ins. Like I knew I was a fucking sports editor for my high school paper. And I ended up not doing journalism. I was so pissed because
when it gets down to the Christopher Newport level, it's like this is out of hand, you know? Because in Miami, I would be like, man, you'd go to the school store and you would see all the jerseys that I see people wearing across the country of athletes that go there. And I'd be like, yeah, they bring in so much revenue to the school. Why make them go to class? I get that. But man, when it's down to Christopher Newport in a journalism class, things have gone off course.
Dude, it was, I wish, if there was one thing I could redo in my life, it would have been going to a big school like Miami. Because like I hear when people talk about I love college football, like I love sports, and like I got bored, and I was covering the team, and I got bored with it by my sophomore year. I was done because it's like what? It's like there's really no stakes. Like nobody cares.
Right. It was pretty insane to see. Like I said, like you would watch ESPN, and I would see the guy that's in line in front of me getting chicken on television all week. It was really nuts to be like, we go to the same school.
It's so much pressure. It's so much pressure to think about like that. Yeah. Like you think I watch it now. I mean, it's an old. I feel like it's like a Ray Romano joke or something about like when you're watching sports and you're in your 30s, you're like, you're the man. It's like, no, you're the kid. You're 15 years younger than me now. But like, especially when you watch college sports, you're like, that's somebody's I'm just screaming at somebody's kid. Totally. I'm screaming at somebody's kid through the TV when like, what was I doing when I was 18 years old? Like,
yeah, man, when like, 50-year-old, 60-year-old guys, analysts, they're ripping down a kid who has visible acne on his face about how mentally he's like not ready. It's like, yeah, man, he's a 19-year-old kid on Accutane. What are you, crazy?
Dude, it's the Kwame Brown shit. Like now that he's said that, I feel like it has kind of shifted the way I will forever talk about sports because I would stop making fun of people like that just because I was like, at a certain point, it felt mean to do it, but not because they were kids. Just like as an adult, I'm like, hey, okay, we're piling on at this point. But you go back and look at Kwame with acne. He's 17. He was 17 when he got drafted.
17 years old when he got.
And Michael fucking Jordan is calling him a pussy and making him like work out for 2 hours before the game while he barks at him through a loudspeaker. You're like, this. How did this kid not kill himself before he was 20? Right. The fact that he had a career is insane.
Yeah, and then people go like, he's a pussy, and it's like, Jordan should have been like arrested for that. I think that's like, I don't know if does he still count as a minor? Like, I think that's child abuse.
Dude,
it has to be something.
It's what it is, man. Like, I don't know. I've had my grandmother's Mexican, so I'm sure my half of my childhood counts as child abuse as well. So it's like anything back at that time would qualify as that. And the answer is yes. Michael Jordan should have been arrested for how he spoke to Kwame Brown. That's somebody else's kid. 100%.
A minor like that?
What a lunatic.
Yeah, I love this. The Kwame Brown resurgence, man, it couldn't have happened in a better way. An hour interview while he's smoking hookah, just talking about how Matt Barnes is soft. Man, it's the greatest thing ever.
Oh my God, man. And the fact that anybody would clap back at him at this point when he's scorched like 10 different people. Like
incredible.
Anybody, if he's like, I'm not a big fan of like, somebody tells you to apologize and you apologize. If it's Kwame Brown, I'd be like, dude, I'm sorry for whatever you think I did. But like, please. I have a wife. I have a family.
Yeah. I wonder too if like some of that's jealousy because it's like, dude, he's the first pick in the draft from high school. Like I remember reading a book about I think it was at the season where the Heat lose to the Mavs. I forget what year that is. Maybe like 2011. I want to say maybe 2012 when they lose to the Mavs in the finals. And like there was this chapter about LeBron and how when he first came into the league, he's instantly the best player on his team.
Yeah.
And it's a team full of grown men who have to now answer to this 18, 19-year-old kid about basketball. So it's like, it's so isolating and there's so much resentment. And I do wonder with like someone like Kwame Brown, if like you do have like, it's like Matt Barnes, Steven Jackson, like, Steven Jackson was from high school as well though, right?
But, I think he was, yeah.
Yeah. But they're probably older guys at the time. So you have this sense of like, man, not only is this kid the number 1 pick in the draft, he's coming from high school. It's like, we hate this guy, and it's and it's so going against, it's so antithetical to what you're trying to do, which is win by burying your number 1 pick who's in high school. Dude, a year ago was going to his prom.
It's such a dysfunctional thing. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's also like being somebody from DC and knowing how shitty all their professional sports teams are run, basically, with maybe the exception of their hockey team. I'm like, I feel like it's just like bleed through from this, the fact that they're called the Wizards. It's like, it's hard to take anything seriously that they do. But like, coming in and letting Michael, I remember one of my favorite memories was because like once Michael was like, I'm coming back, the Wizards were on like 40 national game. Like they went from like you never saw them to they're the only team you can watch on TV now. And it was like he had a breakaway and he went up to dunk and just bricked it like into the 5th row. And the feeling of like, oh, like the sadness that people felt. I was a Sixers fan. I was like, that's probably the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. I think I might want to be a comedian. If that's I should, as a sports fan, I should be sad, but as a comedian, that is objectively hilarious to watch an entire city realize that he's fucking 38 years old and is not that good anymore. Yeah,
visibly out of shape. Yes, just like I mean, he looked like James Harden with 2 weeks off, just fat. I remember I saw one of Jordan's farewell games when he went to, I think it was like the last time he was going to play at Miami, and they not only, I mean, they retired his jersey and like, everyone knows that, but they presented him with a piece of the flag from 9/11. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen. He literally had to go to into a half court and take this tattered piece of flag from 9/11. Oh man, it was so strange.
And what was funny is there was like the wife of a 9/11 victim backstage. They're pulling it away from to be like, we forgot to save some for Michael.
This needs to go to Michael Jordan for all his efforts in basketball. Man, it was so nuts,
dude. It's we love our sports, man. We're a sports driven. We're not even that. It's celebrity more than sports. It's just like once someone's a celebrity, it's the fact that celebrities get free shit is hilarious. They should get charged more because they can fucking afford it.
Yeah, of course. It's just the rich getting richer kind of thing. Yeah. But I would say I think the pandemic was definitely like, we are definitely, at least like, I think because so many guys watch sports, like the beginning of the pandemic when ESPN had no games to broadcast, they were just playing, they were showing Kevin Durant playing NBA 2K against other basketball players. And it was kind of a thing where I was like, oh, that's how worried they are about men with idle time. Like they're like, man, keep them occupied. We do not know what they will do without sports. Man, just show them Kevin Durant playing Fortnite. Just keep them busy, for God's sake. I was like, I've never seen more transparency about like how much I think society relied on men having sports in their life.
It really is like, I think I'm from all over, but my dad's from Philly, so I'm a Philly sports fan. And there's something about like particularly like East Coast cities where I think so much of like the feelings you don't talk about to a therapist that you don't want to go to go into how the Ravens are playing. Like it's so much of that is what sports is. And I feel like if you don't have that, like what you're saying is true. Like your energy could go anywhere. Like
anywhere.
I was doing I say yes to every podcast that asks to have me on. So I was doing like a conspiracy podcast recently, and there's like two co-hosts, and one of the guys is like, I was like, are you guys into sports? And they were like, no. And I was like, here's why you're not, because there's only so much room in your head, and you filled it up with like the melting temperature of like steel. So you're not going to know anybody. You're not going to know anybody that plays in the Dolphins. Like, sports serves a very important purpose in the world, which is to keep people fucking sane, especially people who don't know what to do with their feelings.
Yeah, and it's a safe zone for feelings. I mean, basketball to me, it's like the ultimate, like after I do sets for that night, it's something I can kind of turn my brain off and just enjoy in a very dumb way, like the same way like an action movie, like is just enjoyable from that standpoint, or even like you have just like pop music where it's just like it's serving its purpose, and I don't know that that's something I got till I was older. But
now, are you? So if you're from Jersey, does that make you a Nets fan or a Knicks fan?
It's weird, man. When I grew up, the Nets were so terrible that nobody was a Nets fan in Jersey. And then the Knicks, when Michael Jordan was the biggest guy when I grew up. He was a childhood hero. So the Knicks would try to beat him up. So I was like, well, I can't root for these guys. They're the bad guys. So I had to just become a fan of basketball at large. And I tried at one point in my life to be a fan of the Charlotte Hornets just because they had LJ, they had Zoe, they had Muggsy Bogues. Like they had these great youthful characters, and like Muggsy Bogues was so small and I was small, so I was like, he's like a beacon of hope to play basketball. But then there's no way to watch Charlotte games, so that I had to discontinue being a fan. So I really was just like a giant fan of basketball. And then when I got to be older and in college, the Nets got kid and they started to be really good and go to the finals and stuff like that. But no, when I was younger, man, it just used to be the Hammer, Armin Gilliam, just putting up like 19 and 8 a night, and we would be like, this guy is our best player.
It's the dude. Well, so I went to a couple Nets games when I was a kid living in Jersey, just because like the tickets were $7. For $7, you could play in the fourth quarter if you show up. I went to. I mean, this is obviously before I moved to LA. Like even just going to a Nets game, even after they moved into Barclays Center.
Barclays, yeah.
I was like, the tickets were still so cheap to go.
Still
like
cheap, yeah.
Yeah, and I remember I went to one Knicks game that I was just like, fuck it, I'm gonna spend whatever it was. Spend like $90 to sit in the highest fucking seat you could be at in MSG, and they do like the little celebrity cam and it's like everybody's there. Everybody's there. At the Nets game, the first Nets game I went to, the only celebrity was Weebay from The Wire. And they were on him for like 3 minutes, and people were like, Weebay! And I'm like, dude, I love Weebay. I love The Wire. If he's your only celebrity at the game, you guys have some outreach to do. But like for the Nets to be like clearly the best team in New York, and also the team that like has the trajectory to be great for a long time. I mean, I don't know. That's got to feel good for somebody who watched them suck as a kid.
Yeah, it's interesting because I really don't hold any. I mean, I've lived in Queens, so I feel because like in New York, you get so tied to your borough a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have any affection for the Brooklyn Nets. I mean, obviously, if they were in Jersey, I'd be through the roof. But I think in general, too, just because the team is like so put together of just these like mega stars all on the court together. But I wanted to say one thing. You mentioned Weebay from The Wire, who's his name. It's Hassan, and I forget his last name.
Johnson.
I sat next to him. When I worked at MSG, I sat next to him basically courtside at a game. I think it was like a Knicks Celtics game, and he wasn't even on the teleprompter. Yeah, like because in front of him was like Tracy Morgan, Jimmy Fallon, and somebody else. So that's so funny because he's like a great guy, and he's like super cool. We sat next to each other at that game. He wasn't even a thought to put on the teleprompter. But yeah, at a Brooklyn Nets game, he's like he might go up twice.
Wait,
second quarter and fourth quarter.
Where were you guys sitting in MSG when you were sitting next to him?
Literally, it was like Celebrity Row, and we got the tickets through MSG. It was Sam Morrell and myself because we had a show on MSG at the time. So it was Celebrity Row. We were in the second row. So like Tracy Morgan was right in front of us. I forget. He kind of he sucks a lot of the air out of the room. So I don't remember who the other stars were, but there were at least like two other stars. Maybe Charlie Cox from Daredevil. And then it was Hassan was sitting next to me with his boy, and we were having a great time. But it was very funny to be like, like because Sam at one point was like, maybe we'll get on. I was like, there's no chance, man. They're not even putting Weebay on. There's no chance. The Garden, it's just so much fun. Like there's nothing like it. There really isn't.
It's got to be like top 5 all-time venues to watch a sporting event. One that's underrated is because I went there a bunch, but my dad went to West Point, so I used to go up to Mikey Stadium.
Yeah.
Easily the most beautiful college stadium I've ever been in. It's like overlooking the Hudson Valley. It's got like all the monument shit right there. Like that's an underrated spot.
Yeah, we would. I mean, for UM, when I went to UM, they played in the Orange Bowl every weekend, and like people would talk about the Orange Bowl with romance. It was the most rundown. Like it was like you could see the wood falling apart as you walked into the place. It smelled like a basement somehow, even though it was an open air arena. It was incredibly run down in a way that was impressive that it was still standing.
Yeah,
it was like a Coney Island roller coaster.
Yeah, like the unsafe ones. Did they end up? They took the Orange Bowl down, I'm assuming, and now they play at like the Dolphin Stadium, right?
I believe so. Yeah, they were a pro player for a little while, and I haven't really kept up in terms of like how like stadiums change hands and things like that. But but it was nice because the Orange Bowl was downtown, so it really did. It was the heart of Miami. Like you would go to a game, like you would pay to park on people's driveways. Like there were like,
oh no. You gotta be fucking kidding me.
Hi, I'm Erick's wife, Liz Galalis. Seeing as how Erick's internet crapped out during an interview again, and he's in desperate need of some segue to cover up his embarrassing mistake, I figured I'd take this time to plug one of my projects. When Nature Calls with Helen Mirren is a new show premiering on ABC this Thursday, June 24th at 8 p.m. It's like a really funny... No, I fucked that up.
You know what I'm realizing about this is the fact that you're in a show with Helen Mirren sounds like this is just a bit. Like people don't think that you're really on a show with Helen Mirren. So this is not going to read as a real promo. Just use this.
It's a real show, people. It's a show called When Nature Calls with Helen Mirren, and it's going to be on Thursday nights at 8 p.m. And it's I've had a typo in my script. It's like a nature documentary, but it's funny, and the animals talk, and you might just hear a familiar voice, me. So watch When Nature Calls with Helen Mirren, ABC, Thursday nights, 8 p.m. Back to the show, back to the interview with Erick and some dude. I'm assuming it's a dude. Total sausage fest, this podcast.
I like that you went back to the script.
I went back to the script. I'm a professional.
Look, this episode drops on the 22nd. Your show
on the 24th.
On the 24th.
Yeah.
So yeah, for real, everybody support Liz. Just watch the show on ABC.
ABC, primetime.
And then just tweet to Jimmy Kimmel and be like, good stuff.
Why Jimmy Kimmel?
I don't know. He's on ABC.
Yeah, I guess so.
He's like the king of ABC.
I don't know.
All right.
Okay. Bye.
Back to the interview with Anthony Devito. That's the guy.
That guy.
A little disrespectful to
I
my
love
guest.
that guy.
You love that guy?
I do.
Name one thing Anthony Devito's been
Football.
in. Football?
He's been in football.
You think he's a football player?
Oh.
No, that's the other interview that's for 2 weeks from now.
I thought this was oops.
No, Anthony
I thought you were
DeVito's
editing the interview where you got the backup quarterback. Do the people know you have a backup quarterback?
They don't. This will be the
This is the announcement.
Way to
You can cut this out.
Anthony DeVito's a comedian from New York.
I don't know.
Great.
Anthony DeVito, great guy.
All right, great. Watch Liz's show.
Okay.
All right, now back to my interview.
Bye.
Fuck, dude. Fucking shit.
Yo.
I don't know what happened, man. It was going fine. I didn't even show my internet crapping out, and it just fucking turned off.
Oh man, I'm sorry. That sucks.
Yeah, I don't know if I also don't know if it was. Blame it on me. Who gives a shit? That sucks.
I know it easily could have been my end. I don't think I've ever done a podcast that's gone off without a hitch. Usually there's some kind of major hiccup up from me, so don't worry about it.
Did you guys? I know you had the Rad Dudecast for a while, but it looks like you guys that's transitioned into a different show recently.
Yeah, so we stopped doing the podcast, not in a bad way. We had just done it for so long that it just kind of naturally reached the end of its course. And then Greg has kept going with his own podcast. Then I think Brendan's also going to be doing his own podcast. Not me, man. I've got no ambition, so I'll be doing nothing. But
I saw you have a solo show coming up. That's a thing.
That's exactly what I'm working on. August 14th at Union Hall in Brooklyn. Come see my dad isn't Danny DeVito. It's very good.
Are you planning on doing more than one date, or you got like the one and then you're going to see how it goes and take it from there?
For right now I have the one. I will probably be trying to do it more regularly. Hopefully Union Hall complies with that and people come out and because I was doing it a decent amount before the pandemic started, and then couldn't do it anymore because of the pandemic. So no, my plan is to do it a bunch and then hopefully get a theater run in Manhattan somewhere.
What's the vibe of the show?
The vibe of the show is a lot. It's kind of a hybrid of I would say stand-up storytelling and then like a little bit of drama. Only so much that I'll allow myself as a comedian. But I tried to do it more like stand-up, but it just doesn't cater to what the show is about the best.
Yeah.
So I would say it's more of it feels like a stand-up telling a story more than anything. I think that's maybe the best way to put it.
I think striking that balance is it's hard, but I trust a stand-up more than an actor to do it. No offense to actors, but I feel like actors are like, we can skip on the funny part. They want the uncomfortable drama, and like the comics are like, let's get to a fucking laugh. Like that's a show that I'm like, I have more confidence in enjoying, to be honest.
Yeah. No, it's definitely funny first, and any dramatic moments, they have to be there because people have told me you have to put this in and you can't make a joke about this. Or they're like a happy accident. Like I stumbled upon a compelling moment while I was trying to like make it funny. But yeah, for the most part, it's funny.
Yeah, and look, I used to do, I did improv for way too long to be proud of it. And I remember I was doing improv and then I was still too scared to do stand-up. So I started doing storytelling for like 6 months and was like, it's like there's no responsibility for the jokes to land. Like it just, no, this is just a dramatic part. Yeah, it's like a setup and then drama.
Yeah. And it's like, what fun is that?
Who is this for? Who is this for?
Yeah. Who is this for?
Like Zoom comedy shows are like the storytelling of the pandemic, I feel.
Yeah,
like I feel like we're just indulging the performers, but not even that. Even like this, not to go off on Zoom comedy, it's almost like a hack thing at this point. But like, I just don't know who is excited when they know somebody on a Zoom comedy show to be like, oh, I'm going to see him tonight.
Oh, great. I'll see him in his bedroom. Like awkwardly speak. The rhythm is so strange. Zoom is, oh my God. I mean, we did so many Zoom podcast episodes. Like that's also what we were like, yeah, we're done. We are done.
That was enough to end it.
Yeah, dude. 4 Zoom episodes a week. I was like, I think I might be done with podcasting forever. I'm out of the whole genre.
Did you guys, I'm assuming before the pandemic, you would like get together and shoot it live or record it live in the same room? Yeah, it's just, even with this podcast, I've been, because I started it during the pandemic, so there's only 3 episodes, I think, where I felt comfortable having somebody over. But now I'm getting out of it and I'm booking guests and they're like, so we're doing virtual, right? And I'm like, fuck no. Like if you live in Canada, like if you're away, yes. But if you live in LA, get your ass over to my house and sit across from me like a human being.
Dude, I would much rather, if I was in LA, I'd much rather sit in horrible LA traffic to do a live podcast with you than turn on my computer and do it over Zoom. It's just, it's so not the same.
It's like, I wonder if the pandemic has changed the way some people think about human interaction. Like I've seen a lot of people unironically post about loving their mask. And I'm like, what fucking, would you be turning your neighbors in Soviet Russia? What kind of person is like, I just like covering it up. Like, this sucks. We all should. I thought we were on the same page of I can't wait to burn these motherfucking masks.
Of course, man.
The fact that
we had to do this.
Yes, dude. Like, who's unhappy that we're going back to normal? It's just, it's insane, man.
Absolutely insane. Yeah.
Yeah. What before we get off the podcast, because I feel like I don't even know where we were at before my internet crapped out, but I said an hour, so I don't want to keep you too long.
Oh, no worries.
But what are your teams? Are you the same way with basketball with all the other major sports, or do you have any teams that you do root for?
No, I mean, I am a Giants fan still.
Giants,
I'm not
right.
as I guess thorough of a NFL fan than I am as an NBA fan. But the Giants, Devils, obviously, I don't watch a lot of
Devils.
hockey, but
Yeah.
you know, they're there. And then I can't really think of any. Oh, baseball. I was a huge Yankees fan growing up, but then like I just stopped watching baseball because at some point I was like, this is very boring. And I think a lot of people kind of come to that conclusion with baseball.
I've started to frame baseball as like it's a thing to do with somebody you enjoy being with. Like I actually went to a Dodgers game with a buddy last night.
Live baseball is very different.
Yes.
And that's one of the best experiences in the world.
Yeah, like live baseball, you go with a friend, you go with a girl you're dating that you've been on a couple dates with, and you're like, you can talk to. And then on TV, baseball's for I have to do my taxes. I have to put up soundproofing in my fucking office. Like you have a task to do, and then you just sometimes look over and see a 30-year-old man scratching his nuts standing in the outfield, and you're like, all right, they're still there. It's so like there's so many fucking games. They're so long. I really compare it to when you're in New York and you're just sitting in a park people watching. Like they're not, with the exception of the catcher who's working his ass off, and the pitcher. Everybody else is doing nothing the entire time.
Yeah, just standing in grass. That's what you're just doing. Yeah, no, I actually think that's a good way to frame baseball, which then actually, it seems relaxing when you put it that way.
Yes.
The way you said it, I kind of was like, maybe I'll turn on a baseball game next time I have to like dust my ceiling fan.
It's perfect, dude. It's perfect for passing time, and like you really feel like, yeah, like if my buddy was working in an office job and I was just like, hey man, I'm just gonna come with you on Monday and watch you send emails.
Yeah.
And like I'm gonna stare at you while you pour coffee and just have nonsense talk at the water cooler. I'm just gonna hang out and like wear this jersey.
Total man, baseball needs to be smart enough to rebrand itself as like a meditative app. You know what I mean?
Well, dude,
like
that's what they keep trying to do. They keep trying to be like, how do we speed up the game? We got to speed it up and it's
embrace what you are.
It's what hockey's fucking up because hockey used to be, hey, you know what we do whenever we have a little problem with each other? We fist fight on ice skates. And then we go take a little time out, get a snack, have some water, get over it. And to be honest, I think all sports should let players fist fight at some point in the game. It feels like the most honest way to like deal with an issue in sports. Yeah, just lean into the thing that you are. Baseball is the slow sport.
Yeah. If anything, slow it down.
Yes, dude. Have 5-hour games.
More innings. Yeah.
Yes, dude. Yes, and have like. Yeah, I mean, they should serve like breakfast, lunch, and dinner at baseball stadiums.
Between innings, the PA announcer should lead the stadium in a breathing exercise. No, I mean, I agree, man. Yeah, do the thing that makes you stand out.
Yes.
Hockey, it's fighting, and then it's that fun little timeout that they make adults, grown men, sit inside a box.
It's the most it's the most honest because like other sports,
so cool.
like people will like get in each other's faces, but you know they're not going to do anything. Or especially in the NFL, they're wearing a helmet. But in hockey, they just like gentlemen. Like people that used to duel, they would just be like, "Oh, our gloves." They take off their gloves. They're not fancy gloves. They're big, smelly hockey gloves.
Yeah.
They fight. Somebody wins. Split it up when it looks like someone's about to die.
Yep.
It's like it's so earnest. There's something earnest about a hockey fight that doesn't exist in any of the other sports. I wish it did.
No, there's a decorum to it. There's like you were saying, like it follows the procedural elements of a duel.
Yeah.
Where it's very much like we're fighting. Once the fight ends, I'll go to my little box. You'll go to your little box, and that'll be that. It's That's why, like soccer, it's like everyone gets on, soccer for either being slow or the flops, and it's like, man, start rewarding goals for flops. Or start giving points away. Like, yeah, do the thing that everyone hates about your sport, and just maximize that as much as you can.
Yeah, I remember hockey was like, it's hard for people to see the puck. I'm like, camouflage the puck. Yep. Like, make it impossible.
Make it smaller.
Make it smaller and make it ice colored. so that only the hockey players can see it.
Yeah, man, that's a great idea. That's where Fox went wrong. Where they used to try to they would put like a flame around the puck.
Yeah, but even they couldn't follow it. Like that would be. I remember when they had the puck flame. It would get lost in the corner or something, or the guy would have a stroke and just pass out. So the flame would just be blinding someone in the audience.
If you watch the movies that came out during when Fox was doing it, the technology was not there yet. That they had the balls to think they could pull that off. Oh man, unreal.
Oh my God! Look, dude, I wanna get you out of here because we're coming up to an hour. But before we hop off, tell my listeners where they can follow you and what they can do to support you.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram at comedian Anthony Devito. That's where I post most of my stuff. And then if you want to come see a show, I usually put them all on my website, anthonydevitocomedy.com. And if you're in the New York area, man, come out to my solo show, My Dad Isn't Danny DeVito, on August 14th at Union Hall at 7:30.
Appreciate you doing the show.
Of course, man. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too, man.
See ya.
Thanks for listening to the show. Make sure you're subscribed wherever you're currently listening because in 2 weeks, we have NFL quarterback Jabron Hamden right here on Bringing the Backups. If you're currently listening on Apple Podcasts or iTunes, do me a favor and leave a 5-star review as it's currently the best way to support the work I'm doing. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe and hit the notification bell. And if you'd like more info on the show or how to see me live, go to erickhellwig.com to hop on the newsletter. Thank you so much for your support. Make sure you're here in 2 weeks to hear Jabron Hamden right here on Bringing the Backups. We'll see you then.